Come on. Here we go. Here we go. So you guys are only going to be... You guys will only be able to hear me, but if you're watching the debate at the same time... Great. Nice. So we can watch... And we can, if you're all watching, and I am talking, you'll hear me talking and responding. So we've got Bernie and run climate change. Oh, Bernie brings... I win! I said they'd bring up the Green New Deal. Some people think that they'll drop it because it's just too ridiculous, but they don't drop it. They'll never drop it. They should just drop it. New plan. Rename it. Something that isn't so whack. I can't use debate audio. I've said that. Open it in another screen because... It'll take down the stream if it has the audio. Transitional fuel. Oh, you know what? This is a little channel. If they copyright strike it, it's fine. I'll stream the audio. That's fine. Whatever.
And then
I think we'll be fine.
Each one of them, and then not
if they strike it, I'll just take it down.
Make sure that it's safe. But it is a transitional fuel, and I want to add.
It's literally a debate. They shouldn't get too triggered if someone's commentating on it. I am transforming it.
By 2045, 2050, something
2050,
like that.
they're not going to like that. They're going to say that's way too late.
Unless we bring people with us.
I can already tell you Bernie's going to not like a 2050 goal. He's going to be all like, no, it needs to be next year. We need to rebuild everything by next year.
In a smart way. One, get back into that international climate change agreement. Two,
we're already beating the Paris Accord. We're already doing more than we were supposed to through the Paris Accords. Stop acting like it's going to change anything. We're already reaching it.
Very important, Chuck. We have to make sure that that money goes back directly as dividends to the people that are going to need help for paying their bills. Otherwise, we're not going to pass it.
I agree with
there
that.
has to be a heart to the policy to get this done.
You can't just take everyone's money to save the world and then leave the poor to die. Warren's plan actually isn't terrible because she actually wants to build manufacturing and save the world at the same time. That's pretty good.
Those are the ones we need to be working on to harden our infrastructure right now. But listen to Senator Klobuchar's point. She says we have to think smaller in order to get it passed.
Here's Warren's. She's always said this. We need to go big. We need to go so big that it'll never get passed by the Senate. That's what she always does. That healthcare, climate change. She always goes. What was the line? She went, why would you go all this way to say we can't do things? Warren, you can't just write an executive order for everything. You need the other side to help you a little bit.
If you're not willing to roll back the filibuster, then you're giving the fossil fuel industry a veto.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Oh, fossil fuel industry. I called it. But that was an obvious one they were going to say.
You have said that you want to hold oil and gas executives.
This is the worst. This is the worst moderator. She was grilling Amy. Moderators are not supposed to attack specific people, but this one is just terrible. But it is MSNBC. Can't expect much. They should have had Yang. They should have done CNN Yang as the moderator. That would have been great.
Billions of dollars. Number two,
Okay, Biden. No gaffes. No gaffes today.
By the way, minority communities are the communities
Oh no.
most badly
Oh
hurt
no.
by the way in which
Careful
we
there,
deal with
Biden.
climate change.
We don't want
They're
corn
the ones
pop
that
too.
come to That's where the asthma is. That's where the
Okay, he's
groundwater
navigating
supply has
it.
been polluted. That's where, in fact, people, do not have the opportunity to be able to get away from.
Okay,
everything
Biden
from
is actually
still
hitting a
asbestos
true
in the
note
walls
here.
of our schools.
This is one of
I have
the
$1
few
trillion
times that I will give
for
them.
infrastructure. That
This
will
isn't even
provide
being
for
dramatic. It's
thousands
true.
and
The
thousands of
poorer
new jobs,
areas
not $15
are
an
worse
hour,
affected by
but
pollution and
$50 an hour
stuff
plus
because
benefits.
that's just how that
Unions-
works.
Unions being able to do that. And what it does is
Unions,
change
let's
the nature-
go.
Look, here's the last point I want. I know my time's going to run out. Here's the last point I want to make to you. On day one, when I'm elected president,
Day
I'm
one.
gonna
They always say
invite
day one, and it
all of the
never
members
happens
of
on
the
day one.
Paris Accord
What?
to
Oh,
Washington,
God.
D.C.
Stop
They
with the
make up
Paris Accord.
85% of the
Make a new
problem.
one that
They know
actually
me.
holds
I'm
other
used to
countries
dealing
to
with international
account.
relations.
My
I will
God.
get them to up the ante
Vice
in a big
President
way.
Biden,
You
you
guys
didn't
are just
answer to
like,
my
Paris
questions.
Accord, Paris Accord, Paris
What
Accord. It
would
didn't
you
even
do with
call
these
for much.
companies that are responsible for the destruction of our planet?
What would I do with them? I would make sure they, number one, stop. Number two,
These
if you
companies are the
demonstrate that
only
they, in fact,
people
have done
responsible.
things
There's
already
nothing
that are
going on in
bad
other
and they've been
countries.
lying,
It
they
is
should
just
be able
American
to be
companies
sued. They
destroying
should be able to be held
everything.
personally accountable, and they should, and not only the
It's just
companies, but the
such a
stockholders,
small
the
view of the
CEOs
world to
those
go,
companies.
oh,
They
the
should
petroleum
be
companies are,
engaged.
yes, they're
It's a
bad,
little bit like,
but they're
look,
not
this is an
everything.
industry we should be able to
Please,
sue.
can we look
should
at
go after,
rivers
just
like
we
the
did with drug
Ganges and
companies,
stuff?
just like we did
This
way
is
with
not
the tobacco
just
companies. The only
American
company we
oil
can't go
companies.
after
This
are gun
is
manufacturers
Thank you,
because
countries where they have single-use things and they just don't care.
Stay on the topic. My question is to Mayor Bloomberg. Mayor Bloomberg, your business is heavily invested in China. I think you mentioned that a few questions back. The #1 producer in the world of carbon emissions. How
I
far
can't
would
shut
you
up for
go
too
to
long.
force China to reduce
If I
those
shut up, they'll copyright
emissions
strike.
and tackle the climate crisis?
Well, you're not going to go to war with them. You have to negotiate with them and try to, and we've seen how well that works with tariffs that are hurting us. What you have to do is convince the Chinese that it is in their
We're
interest
winning.
as well. Their people are going to die just as our people are going to die.
But we
And
won the
work
trade
together.
war.
In all fairness, the Chinese have slowed down. It's India that is an even bigger problem. But it is an enormous problem. Nobody's doing anything
Fair.
about it. We could, right here in America, make a big difference. We're closing the coal-fired power plants. If we enforced some of the rules on fracking so that they don't release methane into the air and into the water, you'll make a big difference. But we're not going
That's
to get rid
true.
of fracking for a while. And we frack, incidentally, not just natural gas, you frack oil as well. It is a technique, and when it's done poorly, like they're doing in too many places where the methane gets out into the air, it is very damaging. But it's a transition fuel. I think the senator said it right. We want to go to all renewables, but that's still many years from now. And before, I think the senator mentioned 2050 for some
It does say
No
commentary.
scientist thinks
I
the
can
numbers are
pause and talk
2050
as
or
well.
2050
Would you
anymore.
guys
They're
prefer
2030,
that?
2035. The world is coming apart faster than
Because yeah, I
any
can actually pause
scientific,
and then talk
study
and then
had
unpause.
predicted. You've just got to do something
Mayor
now.
Bloomberg, thank you.
Yeah,
Mayor
okay.
Bloomberg, your thoughts.
So that's what we'll do, because then I'm not talking over people. So what he just said is right. The issue is the United States has just finally went energy independent. We are actually creating all the oil we need, and going back means going back to just buying it from other countries. And guess what? Other countries have less regulations than us. So even though fracking is better than what's going to be happening in the Middle East. If we're buying the oil, then they have to ship it overseas on a massive barge, which is terrible for the environment. People look at this so one-dimensionally. Fracking bad, yes, but what's the alternative? The alternative is we import, which is worse. You gotta think ahead.
Be real about the deadline.
Hi, Ben.
It's not 2050, it's not 2040, it's not 2030, it's 2020. Because if we don't elect a president
It's
who
current
actually
year.
believes in climate science now, we will never meet any of the other scientific or policy deadlines that we need to. So first of all,
No, we
let's
won't.
make sure we're actually positioned to win, which once again, if we put forward two of the most polarizing figures on this stage as the only option, is going to be a real struggle. Now, I've got a plan to get us carbon neutral by 2050, and I think everybody up here has a plan that more or less does the same. So
I'm just going to say Bernie Sanders is going, I'm almost betting on the fact that Bernie Sanders is going to say that 2050 is not fast enough. I'm betting so hard he's gonna wave his hands and go, "This is not enough."
The real question is, how are we going to
Oh,
actually...
there he is. He's got his hand up.
We need leadership to make this a national project that breaks down the partisan and political tug of war that prevents anything from getting done. How do you do it? Well, first of all, making sure that those jobs are available quickly. Secondly, ensuring that we are pulling in those very sectors who have been made to feel like they're part of the problem, from farming
Yes,
to
that's a big
industry,
one.
and fund as well as urge them to do the right thing. And then
P is so strong here because one of the big problems is you can't just point at coal miners and you can't just point at farmers and go, "You are the problem, screw you, we want to take away your jobs." You have to push them into the new industry and not the whole learn to code thing. You need to actually have a transition period where you can get people into these new industries, and you can't just demonize them. It's like the PETA effect. When you yell at people for eating meat, people will just start eating hamburgers in front of you because they'll get annoyed. It's annoying.
global climate diplomacy. I'm a little skeptical of the idea that convincing is going to do the trick when it comes to working with China. America has repeatedly
the drinking game. We have Green New Deal, oil industry, and Trump. And when they all talk over each other. My God.
Make sure that the question of environmental justice gets more than a glancing blow in this debate. Because for generations now in this country, toxic waste dumps, polluting factories have been located in or near communities of color.
Yeah, capital of my state has a big incinerator.
In the health of young African American babies, it's felt in the health of seniors, people with compromised immune systems. It's also felt economically. Who wants to move into an area where the air smells bad or you can't drink the water? I have a commitment of $1 trillion to repair the damage that this nation has permitted to inflict on.
You know what? $1 trillion is a lot, but compared to the other plans that are being thrown out, $1 trillion is just a drop in the bucket. At this level, it's like SNL said, it's just imaginary money at this point. I mean, it's not going to come from anywhere. The Fed's just gonna figure it out. We're gonna print more money. It's gonna be fine.
Communities of color for generations now. We have to own up to our responsibility. We cannot simply talk about climate change in big
Don't forget to like the
terms.
video.
We need to talk about it in terms of rescuing the communities that have been damaged.
Senator Warren, thank you. Hallie?
Sanders, come on.
Biden, I want to ask you about something else that is important to people here. I want to ask you about Latinos owning 1 out of every 4 new small businesses in the United States. Many of them have benefited from President Trump's tax cuts,
including me. My
taxes,
taxes, actually, I'm getting a refund this year because I own a small business.
No. Taxes on small business won't go up. Matter of fact, we're going to make sure there's more money available for small businesses.
Please, Biden. Please
to be able
give
to
it to me.
To start businesses. At the Treasury Department, there's going to be a window available where we can significantly.
Let me say something. Federal funding for small businesses sucks right now. That is somewhere that Biden, if he went on that, I'd actually support him a lot more because, like, I was talking to a bank about an SBA loan, which is the loan that's subsidized by the government for small businesses, and it was like a $10,000 loan, but you had to pay $4,000 out of the loan for fees on the loan. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Increase the amount of money available so people can borrow the money to get started. They have demonstrated they're incredibly successful. We should not be raising taxes on them. We should start be rewarding work, not just wealth. That's why we have to change the tax code the way it is. That's why the wealthy have to start to pay their fair share. And that's why we have to focus on giving people the ability to garner wealth, generate wealth. And that's why this whole idea of redlining, lending to people in areas wasn't the cause of Wall Street failing. The greed of Wall Street was the reason why it occurred, not redlining.
Good job, Biden.
I want to say,
good job.
The idea of China is, in their Belt and Road proposal, they're taking the dirtiest coal in the world, mostly out of Mongolia, and spreading it around the world.
Biden, you're on fire.
It's clear when you called them to Washington in the first 100 days. If you continue, you will suffer severe consequences because the rest of the world will impose tariffs on everything you're selling because you are undercutting the entire economy.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Mayor Buttigieg.
This is literally probably Biden's best moment. I'm going to be 100% honest. Biden just knocked it out of the park, and I will almost forget about Corn Pop for that. That was so good. The tariffs on China for being environmentally unhealthy, and I'd add on for human rights abuses as well. It's the best way for us to hit them. Trump has showed that tariffs will get China to fall onto their knees eventually. I mean, we have proven that. We won in the end. It hurt at first, but now they're actually giving in to our demands. So good job, Biden. Thank you for actually being strong on a point when it comes to other countries. Thank you. Finally, one of you.
Judge, will taxes on those businesses go up under you?
Not if, Mr. Bloomberg, it manifests itself in a tax code in which not
Slight
only
skip
is
there.
Amazon and many other major corporations, some owned by the wealthiest people in this country, not paying a nickel in taxes.
The 1%.
We have the insane
The
situation
1%.
that billionaires today,
Billionaires.
if you can believe it, have an effective tax rate
Bloomberg.
lower than the middle class. So
Senator,
maybe
you're writing
just
the tax code.
Bloomberg has a really good point. Bernie has been in his seat for so long, and he's actually gotten relatively little done in his seat. He's said a lot, but he has not done too much if you look at track records. So he's supported a lot of bills, but he hasn't really gotten much passed.
Your campaign contributions, electing people who represent the wealthy and the powerful,
Yes,
those are the folks,
Democrats, thank
those
you.
are, well, and Republicans too.
Okay.
And George W. Bush as well.
Oh God, Bush. We gotta bring him up a third
I
time.
was thinking there's
understand
going
that,
to
but
be a
Senator Klobuchar-
boxing rematch on Saturday in Vegas, and those guys should go down there.
Senator Klobuchar, I actually want to get you to something.
At least she has a sense of
Senator
humor.
Sanders
I like her.
tweeted last year, billionaires should not exist.
Okay.
What
Oh,
say
this
you?
is a big one. Billionaires
I
need to
believe
exist
in
for a healthy,
capitalism, but I
for a
think
healthy economy.
the
You
goal
need
of
the
someone,
line.
and a president of the United
Vsauce
States
made a video
should
on the
be a
law.
check
It's
on
like
that. I'm not going to
English
limit
language.
what people make,
Whoop.
but I think right now our tax code is so tilted against regular people, and that is what's wrong. I was thinking of your question about small businesses. The small businesses I talk to, they have trouble getting employees because their employees don't have child care. We should have universal child care. And
These are big things. One of the things I've always said is, what if we just had a flat income tax of like 30%, and then you only pay it if obviously you have enough money to live. So like a part where it starts, and then there would be no loopholes in the tax code. But they would never do that because the rich would. Currently, we have a progressive tax rate. So like the first $100,000 you pay like 20%, and then the next million 30%. But it's so complicated, and there's so many loopholes. If you actually switch it to something way simpler, it would actually make more money, but they'll never do that.
About Donald Trump, and let's just talk
Oh,
about
Trump!
Donald
We've got Trump!
because he
Trump.
signed that tax bill that helped the wealthy, and he
It
went
helped
down
me
to
too, though.
Mar-a-Lago, and he
Stop
said
saying
to
it
all
only
his
helped the wealthy,
friends,
because
"You
I
just
literally
got a
saw that
lot
in my
richer."
paycheck.
That is
I
exhibit
actually
A,
got
and I
like
can tell
a
you the
full
hardworking people in
rent
Nevada
like
were not
payment
in that room.
more
So the
than
key
last
to me
year.
is to not limit
Or
what people
before
can
Trump.
make, but make sure that we have a government that is fair
I
for
did.
everyone.
So, Senator Sanders, what did you mean that you don't think they should
I'll tell
exist?
you what I mean.
What did that mean?
We have a
I'm not a
grotesque
billionaire,
and
making that clear.
immoral distribution of wealth and income. Mike Bloomberg owns more wealth.
Bernie, the
than
issue
bottom
is you can fix this without
125
destroying
million
everything.
Americans. That's wrong. That's immoral. That should not be the case when we got 500,000 people sleeping out on the street, when we have kids who cannot afford to go to college, when we have 45 million people dealing with student debt. We have enormous problems facing this country, and we cannot continue seeing a situation where in the last 3 years, billionaires in this country saw an $850 billion increase in their wealth. Congratulations, Mr. Bloomberg. But the average American last year saw less than a 1% increase in his or her income. That's wrong.
Okay, so two things. First off, make sure to like the stream. I'm going to have trouble getting any likes on this because people are going to dislike because it's a commentary, not just a straight debate. copyright law won't allow that, plebeians. Anyways, I like Bernie speaking out for the working class. It's great. I just don't agree with a lot of his solutions. I think a lot of them are a little bit too authoritarian. Like, public healthcare option, great. Banning all the other stuff, bad. They're just, he's way too black and white with things.
For all billionaires, all I know is I've been very lucky, made a lot of money, and I'm giving it all away to make this country better. And a good chunk of it goes to the Democratic Party as well.
That's a good point. Like Bill Gates and stuff, they give a lot of money away.
Should you have earned that much money?
Yes, I worked very hard for it. Giving it away.
Thank you, Alex.
Should you earn the money you work for?
Senator Sanders has a proposal that would require all large companies to turn over up to 20% of their ownership to employees over time.
This is ridiculous. This is actual communism. It'll crash the stock market. Bad.
I'm not sure it makes sense to command those companies to do it.
You can't force a company to give up ownership.
Less inequality in this country, then we got to start with the tax code. And we got to start with investments in how people are able to live the American dream, which is in serious decline. Matter of fact, last time I checked, the list of countries to live out the American dream, in other words, to be born at the bottom and come out at the top, we're not even in the top 10. Number one place to live out the American dream right now is Denmark. And as the, I think, lone person on this stage who's not a millionaire, let alone a billionaire, I believe that part of what needs to change is for the voices of the communities that haven't felt heard on Wall Street or in Washington to actually be brought to Capitol Hill. It's why I am building a politics designed around inclusion, designed around belonging, because the one thing that will definitely perpetuate the income inequality we're living with right now is for Donald Trump to be reelected because we polarized this country with the wrong nominee.
Stop attacking the man. Attack his ideas. Come on. Say, you know what? You should be saying small businesses were failing under Trump. But you can't say that because it's false. He actually helped small businesses and big businesses. How about you say that under your plans, you will pick up small businesses and not... just saying Trump is not going to give anyone a good idea of what you're planning on do. It's like there's so many questions and answers here that just avoid the point. Avoid the point. Avoid the point.
Senator Sanders, it's your
At least Bernie's honest. He's a little bit too far, but he's honest.
All right? What we need to do to deal with this grotesque level of income and wealth inequality is make sure that those people who are working, you know what, Mr. Bloomberg, wasn't you who made
Careful with your language, Bernie.
Played some role in that as well. And it is important that those workers are able to share the benefits. Also, when we have so many people who go to work every day and they feel not good about their jobs, they feel like cogs in a machine. I want workers to be able
Ironic.
to
Cogs in a machine sounds like... Never mind.
Mayor Bloomberg, you own a large company. Would you support what Senator Sanders is proposing?
Absolutely not. I can't think of ways that would make it easier for Donald Trump to get reelected than listening to
The giving 20% of each company away to the workers is just a terrible idea. First off, 20% is a ton. A really big company, you'll have a ton of majority shareholders. And having the people at the bottom who don't understand trade, who aren't these big businessmen who have experience, having them make majority decisions is just a terrible idea. There are better ways to do this. I would honestly be way more for going, oh, let's give them paid maternity and paternity leave and stuff. Let's get more rights for the workers. But saying, let's give them actual ownership of the company, that is not the direction to go in. That's just going to damage a lot of companies because, I'm sorry, the person flipping burgers at McDonald's does not understand how to figure out a logistical supply chain, and they should not be voting on those issues.
To this conversation. It's ridiculous.
In tax breaks and subsidies to build luxury condominiums, that's socialism for the rich. When Walmart, we have to subsidize Walmart's workers who are on Medicaid and food stamps.
Kind of right.
The wealthiest family in America pays starvation wages. That's socialism for the rich. I believe
not really right.
Democratic socialism for working people, not billionaires. Health care for all, educational opportunity for all.
Senator, thank you. Mayor Bloomberg, would you like
that works
the
for
question
all,
was about socialism.
Bernie, your proposals bills would help Walmart.
The country happens to be a millionaire with 3 houses. What I miss here?
Well, you'll miss that I work in Washington, House 1.
That's the first problem.
Live in Burlington, House 2.
That's good.
And like thousands of other Vermonters, I do have a summer camp.
He does have 3 houses.
Where is your home? Which tax haven do you have your home?
New York City, thank you very much. Taxes, and I'm happy to do it because I get something for it. And let me say,
it's funny because
the senator next to me
Bernie actually owns more homes.
I agree we should raise taxes on the... I disagree with the senator on the wealth tax, but I do agree with her that the rich aren't paying their fair share. We should raise taxes on the rich. I did that as mayor in New York City. I raised taxes, and if you take a look at my plans, the first thing I would do is try to convince Congress, because they've got to do it, we can't just order it, to roll back the tax cuts that the Trump administration put in.
Hurting me. Hurting my heart.
Through Congress.
Hurting me.
Vice President,
Can you keep my part of the tax cut at least?
Americans feeling about socialist candidates.
Well, look, let me weigh.
Oh.
You know, for 36 years and as vice president, I was listed as the poorest man in Congress. I made money when I wrote a book about my son, and it surprised me how much it sold. First time I ever made any money.
Oh, God.
And here's the deal.
Joe Biden, don't bring up your son. Don't bring up your son.
Work, not just wealth.
Danger, danger.
The idea that we have a tax rate for corporate America at 21% is ridiculous. It should be at 28%. That would raise almost $800 billion a year.
Yeah, but that's also higher than the rest.
Companies not paying anything at all.
You can't set the taxes higher than the rest of the countries in the world, though.
That would raise another $740 billion a year. The idea that you're able to have a capital gains
there are
tax
better
that
ways
you
to
pay at the rate of 20% if you are if you are Mike Bloomberg or whomever.
Capital gains tax is a really bad idea for a lot of reasons. I actually trade stock. The problem is that a lot of stock trading now is automated. So what keeps the stock market from crashing is that bots will automatically buy stock when it starts crashing because they'll go, okay, it's dropping and this is cheap. What a 20% tax rate would do is it would kill that short-term trading, which would make the stock market way less stable. It would introduce an entire new can of worms that they are not thinking about at all. There's a good reason why there's barely any. There is tax on your gains, but actually Bernie was suggesting, I believe, a fee on each trade or whatever. Bad ideas. Do not touch that because it's going to go horribly wrong. Just even from the small limited knowledge I have of the stock market from trading with stocks and options and stuff and the research I've done, that's going to hurt the systems that keep things from collapsing.
It has a whole lot of money, and someone else is paying at your staffer is paying at 25% is wrong. That would raise another $800 billion. We should be rewarding work, not just wealth. And the American people, the middle class is getting killed, and the poor have no way up.
All right.
I disagree with that. I think that the poor can get trapped, though.
I want to get you in on this because, in 2000, you wrote an award-winning essay. You praised Senator Sanders. You specifically praised him for embracing socialism. You have now since said that you're concerned about his policies. But I am curious about
Bernie has changed.
Are you out of touch with your own generation? Millennials, a big chunk.
I do not consider
democratic socialism.
I do not consider Pete a millennial. I do not consider Pete a millennial.
It's true that I was into Bernie before it was cool. He was congressman at the time. And the qualities I admired then are qualities I still respect a great deal. I never said that I agree with every part of his policy views, then or now, but I appreciate that at least he's straightforward and honest about him. He's honest about the fact that taxes will go up on anybody making more than $29,000 to fund his health care plan. Although, again, a little bit vague about how the rest of that
not being
gap
honest, premiums would be eliminated.
We're still raising those taxes. And
but we're saving people money because they don't pay any premiums, out-of-pocket expenses,
Bernie.
or deductibles. They're going to be much better off.
But where's the other...
Bernie, you need to be calmer. You look so mad, man. This is a great question. The math does not add up. Neither Warren nor Bernie's plan.
After the payroll tax, you still have
because we have a wealth tax. Elizabeth has a good one. Ours is a little bit tougher on Mr. Bloomberg than hers. We're going to raise it in a progressive way, which deals with income and wealth inequality.
That's not descriptive enough.
That healthcare in this country is a human right, not a privilege.
Just saying that doesn't absolve you from having to explain how it works. I paid double into Medicaid because I own a small business. This affects me a lot.
Yes, because I am. Look, Democrats want to beat Donald Trump, but they are worried. They are
You
worried
shouldn't
about
just want to
gambling
beat
on
Trump.
a
You should want to help
narrow
the
vision
country.
that doesn't address the fears of millions of Americans across this country who see real problems and want real change. They are worried about gambling on a revolution that won't bring along
Yes.
a majority of this country.
Thank you.
Amy and Joe's hearts are in the right place, but we can't be so eager to be liked by Mitch McConnell that we
Oh, wait, she's going in the opposite direction. Why did you start saying...
Mayor Buttigieg has been taking money from big donors and changing his positions. So it
Warren,
makes it
you should
unclear
not talk
what
about
it
big
is he
money.
stands for.
Warren, you should not talk about big money. Warren, stop it. Stop it. You're walking on eggshells.
Thank you. Number one, I have repeatedly said that we have to win big. And the way we win big is winning states like Nevada, but also
Bipartisan.
winning the Senate races
Say the
in
word.
Arizona and in Colorado.
Or just working
and beyond.
bipartisan.
And
You
the
don't
way
have
we
to
wanna
take the
do
entire
that
Senate
is
if
to
you can
send
work
Mitch
with the
McConnell
other
to
party.
And I think when you look at my history,
This is so
I am the one that
challenging.
has done that. I am the one
Both
that can beat
sides need
this
to
ticket.
stop this.
And
You
just
don't need
because
to take
I
a
am willing to
majority
talk
if you can
about
work
common
together.
ground, that's where
Yes,
America is.
common
It is
ground.
not with
Yes.
Mitch McConnell, who has 400
Please.
bills on his desk
I don't
that
like
should
Mitch.
pass if we
Neither
get
do
rid
I
of
like a
him.
lot of
It is
Democrats.
because
I don't
am
like a
willing
lot of
to work with
politicians.
people
But work
and
together
find
on
common
things.
ground, and that's what we want in a president,
Ugh.
Elizabeth.
Let's catch
We
a
don't
breath
want
here.
Thank you,
someone
Amy.
that looks
Finally,
just
someone.
Thank you. We need to take another break here. We'll return to the Paris, Las Vegas in just a
Why did it take literally over half of this debate for someone to bring up bipartisanship? It literally took over a half hour for someone to bring up the point that maybe we have to work on both sides. You cannot... Just because Obama and Trump are abusing executive, or Obama did and Trump kind of is, abusing executive orders doesn't mean we should keep this up. Presidents should not be doing legislation. They should be the executive branch. The legislative branch has to work together to get legislation done. Stop with... It's like Bernie, Warren, they're such liars in the fact that they go, first day, I am going to get Medicare. No, because you have to get the Senate to pass that. You cannot do that yourself. When Obama was using executive orders in that way, almost everyone was under the impression that it was a bad idea. It was going to set bad precedent. And, well, look at now, everyone's angry at what Trump is doing with his orders. So you know what? Stop it. You're just going to dig a bigger hole. We don't want the executive branch to be this place where you can just write whatever you want and sign it yourself as the president and it's going to happen. Stop. Both sides need to stop this pettiness. Now I'm going to say one more thing. Bernie Sanders should not be allowed to talk about Walmart. Let me say why. So it only takes basic economics to figure this out. Economics, shush Aaron. Here's the deal. Bernie Sanders wants to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Now, a lot of people are super for this. I get paid minimum wage pretty much. Yeah, that would be cool to get paid more, but here's the problem. A lot of small businesses cannot afford to pay that more, and what's going to happen is they're going to get knocked out, and Walmart can afford to pay more. So unless Bernie Sanders figures out where he's going to make that math work, he is actually going to help Walmart. Probably with a lot of his policies, because he is going to basically make it so that Walmart is the only person who can afford to employ so many people. It's dangerous. It's one of the things where people actually question in economics, is a minimum wage effective? It's like rent ceilings. Rent ceilings are shown to cause apartment shortages because supply and demand will even out. There's an equilibrium in the economy, and it's really sad that politicians completely ignore. The math is so simple, yet they ignore it because they know that if they say, you're going to get $15 an hour, they know that people go, oh, that's more money. But what they don't realize is that when everyone is making more money, everything gets more expensive and companies hire less people. I don't care if I'm making $15 an hour if the company that employs me shuts down. A lot of American businesses are small businesses, and even though Walmart can afford to pay $15 an hour, not every small business can. It will especially hit restaurants, it will especially hit places like bars, it's going to hit these small establishments, and it'll make things like Amazon have a faster job of taking over. Amazon is fantastic at this because Amazon has so many robots in place that if they went $15 an hour, Amazon can just lay everyone off. They can. You know what? Where is Yang's automation tax? You want to talk about that? I thought Yang's idea was fantastic. I want to see someone bring that up. Yang actually had an idea that wouldn't inflate the economy and it would actually help the working class. Unlike just raising the minimum wage, Yang said for every robot that takes a job, have it pay a tax that goes back into the workers. That makes sense. If people are being replaced by robots, have the robots pay back into the people. That was a good idea. That made sense. The UBI funded by automation tax makes more sense than raising the minimum wage. Okay, thank you. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
And the Democratic presidential debate to kick off our next round of questioning. Here's Hallie.
Mayor Buttigieg, to you. In 2018, Mayor Bloomberg was the biggest outside spender, helping Democrats running for Congress. He's also donated billions towards causes like
this is a big one. You
change,
need
gun
people
safety,
like
education.
him.
If his money wasn't a problem then, why is it a problem now?
Oh, I think he should absolutely be doing everything in his power to defeat Donald Trump. I just don't think that has to result in him becoming the president of the United States. Look,
I want your money, but I
work
want you
around
to not
values
exist
like,
anymore.
Making sure we protect working people. But Mayor Bloomberg opposed raising the minimum wage. Our party has a tradition that includes excellent presidents like Barack Obama, who Mayor Bloomberg opposed. At the end of the day, it's not just about how much money you've got, it's what you stand for. And we are living at a moment when Americans are so deeply frustrated with the way that both Wall Street and Washington seem to have overlooked our lives. You know, the view from the porch of my one
but minimum
house
wage
in
is
New
not
York
the answer.
is
We need to raise.
they can't even see us sometimes.
We
And
need to raise the
if we're
power of the
going to
dollar,
election of our
not the
lives
amount of
against
dollars.
a president who rose to power by cynically exploiting the frustration of ordinary Americans feeling like leaders weren't speaking to them, then I think that turning to someone like Mayor Bloomberg, who thinks he can buy this election,
I am a
is
centrist.
no better
I
a way
am
to succeed
basically,
than
I'm
turning
not
to
on
somebody
either
like
side. They
Senator
both
Sanders, who
frustrate
wants
me
to
a
burn the
lot.
house down.
Mr. Vice President.
I'm thinking about
Here's
how
what
I'm
President
affected
Privilege used to say.
by
He
things
said
and
that I
what
was
I
in the pocket of
know.
Mitch McConnell. I'm the only person on this stage that's beaten Mitch McConnell on 4 major cases.
It's true.
Let me finish.
Joe Biden's been strong today, very
Mitch
strong.
McConnell, I've been the object of his affection and the president's affection.
I do not like
He's gone
McConnell
after
at
me,
all.
this new Republican Party,
Turtle needs
after
to-
me, after my son, after
Yeah.
my family. I don't need to be told I'm a friend of Mitch McConnell's. Mitch McConnell has been the biggest pain in my neck in a long time.
Don't worry,
And so
Biden.
that's
He's been a
number one. Number
pain
two,
in my
we have
slightly
to have
conservative
somebody
neck
who
as well.
understands what it's like for ordinary people. Ordinary people come up. They have to understand, like my dad made that longest walk up a short flight of stairs, said, I don't have a job, honey. We have to move. You got to move with Grandpa. How long it took to buy a house. How long it took to get back into the game again. They have to understand the needs of ordinary people, and they are getting killed no matter what people say about this economy, how good it is. And the good part of the economy, it's only 60 seconds, not up yet. And the fact is that we are in a situation where you have the president making clear that he doesn't want any part of me being his opponent. He's spending $125,000 this week.
I agree. That reporter is
I
terrible.
wonder why.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Vanessa,
Can
to
I
you.
respond to the Vice President's
Thank you, Holly.
comments, please? He was identifying me specifically in this.
45 seconds to yourself.
So-
Warren always
so
gets it when she wants
the point
it.
is different. Here's what happened. According to the New York Times, the last time that Mitch McConnell was on the ballot, the vice president stood in the Oval Office and said, "I hope that Mitch gets reelected so I can keep working with him." Well, Mitch did get reelected. He did not have an epiphany. Instead, he blocked nearly everything that Barack Obama tried to pass.
Did you ever
and
win
he
anything?
stole a Supreme Court seat.
Did you ever
from
win
the
anything?
Democrats, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Thank you, Senator.
Damn.
Thank you, Senator. Our next question
Ooh.
goes to Senator Klobuchar.
Don't forget to subscribe as well. It's fun talking with you guys.
100,000 young people known as dreamers or soñadores who were brought to this country as
Oh,
children
here's the
are
dreamers.
currently protected from deportation because of a program that is
The Dreamer is a soft spot for the Democrats right now because they had the chance to protect them and they dropped it because they wanted to block the wall so bad they didn't protect the Dreamers, and that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good at all.
now under the review by the Supreme Court. If the court sides with the Trump administration, which is eager to end this protection, what exactly is your plan to protect the Dreamers permanently?
To win. To beat Donald Trump.
No,
The best
stop!
way
That's
to protect the
I was
Dreamers
just
is to have a new
complimenting
president.
you because
There
you
are the
weren't
votes
just saying
there
beat
to
Donald
protect
Trump.
the Dreamers.
You just didn't
And
explain
I've been working
anything.
on this since I got to the United States Senate. In my first campaign, I actually had a bunch of ads run against me because I was standing up for immigrants.
Literally
And
say
I beat the
how you're
Dreamers, and I
standing up
tried to
for them.
explain it to my state.
I'm not saying whether or not I'm for the Dreamer program, but explain yourself. Stop. Stop talking about personal experience. I just want to know your policy.
He just went to Canada.
Tell
for
me
a
your
night and came
policy.
back.
I don't
And
want to
he
know
was
about this
convinced
random person.
because they needed him
They
to
do
serve
this
in
so
World War
often.
II. Now, not so easy. The Dreamers are our future. The Dreamers are so
No.
important in Nevada. and the
Stop.
best way we
Everyone
can
in
get this
America is
done
our future.
is to beat
Americans
Donald
are our
Trump, but it
future,
is to
including
pass
the immigrants who come
comprehensive
here.
Immigration reform.
We
which
have to
means
stop
paths
saying,
of
this small
citizenship
group is our
for
future.
so
No,
many hardworking
all of
people
us.
will bring down the deficit by $158 billion and will bring peace for these Dreamers.
Thank
We
you
know
so
no
much,
other
Senator
country
Klobuchar.
but our own.
But if,
Thank
if
you.
you're going to run based
Mayor
on
Pitt?
if you're going to run based on your record of voting in Washington, then you have to
Thank
own
you.
those
Voting.
votes, especially when it
Voting.
comes to
Yes.
immigration.
That's what's
you
important.
voted to confirm the head of Customs and Border Protection under Trump, who was one of the architects of the family separation policy. You voted to make
That's strange because, you know, family separation is an intense legal issue that actually stems from us not being allowed to imprison people for other people's crimes. So I want to hear what their solution is. Should we throw the children in prison as well? Or should we just... Probably the best solution is just not have illegal immigration, but obviously it's going to happen no matter what. But I need... Everyone's like, family separation. What is your solution, Pete? Tell me. Do you want to throw children in these terribly funded camps with their parents, or do you want them to be somewhere better? Pete, you can't just say this bad without a solution.
Do you know the message that sends in as multilingual a state as Nevada to immigrants? You have been unusual among Democrats, I think the Democrat among all of the senators running for president, most likely to vote for Donald Trump's judges, who we know are especially hostile to Dreamers and to the
Donald
rights of immigrants.
Trump's
Now, it's not
judges.
been- it was
Everything
not always
Donald
easy to
Trump
stand up
touches
in a
turns
conservative
orange
place like
and
Indiana
bad.
on immigration, but we delivered. We created a municipal ID program so that Dreamers and others who were undocumented were
Can
able
vote.
to navigate everyday
Oh,
life.
navigate.
We
Sorry,
stood up
Pete.
for those rights and stood with members of our community with the message that they were as American as we are. A los soñadores hay que decir que este país es tu país también.
I'm sorry, Pete, but I disagree. Illegal immigrants aren't as American as we are because they aren't American. They just... Walking over the border does not make you American. Should they be protected as humans? Let's discuss how we should do that. But stop with this. We need to bend over backwards and help people who walk over the border just as much as our own citizens. Because, I'm sorry, money isn't coming from nowhere. We have to actually make policies for these people. We can't just keep saying, wow, I'm so good for the illegal immigrants. They're just like us. They deserve all the things we have. It's not that simple, Pete. It's not that simple, and you know it. You're just pandering at this point. You're virtue signaling. virtue signaling.
The person with the most delegates at the end of this primary season
Damn.
be the nominee, even if they are short of a majority. Senator Sanders, I'm going to let you go last here because I know your view.
They're saying this because Pete and Bernie have like the same amount of delegates, even though Bernie has way more
Whatever
votes.
the rules of the Democratic Party are, they should be followed. And if they have a process, which I believe they do,
I'm trying to do
so
this
that
yes or no to make
everybody
it
else,
fast.
everybody can.
So you want the convention to work its will?
Yes.
Senator Warren.
It's time to end the DNC and the RNC. They're both stupid and corrupt.
Until
the leading
you come
person-
to the convention.
What happened in Iowa was just
Vice President Biden?
embarrassing for the entire
So with the
nation.
delegates, should they be the nominee or not?
No, let the process work its way out.
Mayor Buttigieg?
Not necessarily, not till there's a
Senator
majority.
Klobuchar?
Let the process work.
Senator Sanders?
Well, the process includes 500 super delegates on the
A lot of people are leaving California for Texas, actually. A lot of businesses as well.
Thank you, guys.
Most votes should become the nominee.
5 no's and a yes.
We are not done yet. We're back with more from Las Vegas after a short break.
Wow. This is looking kind of sketchy. If I'm correct, I think... I'm sorry, I was talking. I think Bernie just said that he thinks that whoever has the most should get the nomination, even if it's not the majority that's required. So Bernie's basically... Imagine if Trump said that. I'm not going to follow the rules of the RNC. One of my favorite things with Trump was everyone was saying, if Trump loses, he's not going to accept that he lost. And the funny thing is Trump won, and then nobody accepted that he won. Come on, guys. At least... if you're gonna be a moral grandstanding, you gotta at least, when you're called on your own party, you have to follow your rules if you expect everyone else to follow theirs. Ugh. Sensible people have left or are leaving California. I honestly... I used to love the idea of California. When I was very young, my dad was in California for a long portion of his life. My girlfriend was in California for a large portion of her life. I program in my free time, and I really love the idea of Silicon Valley and stuff, but the policies in California have been catastrophic. I mean, first off, it's not... I guess the rent prices aren't exactly their fault. There was terrible policy in place with that, but it was going to happen either way with the value of the companies and stuff nearby. But the homelessness, the giving out free needles and stuff, the amount of public defecation and stuff, the fact that you're no longer allowed... They just decriminalized petty theft, so you can actually shoplift, and the store owner really can't do anything about it legally. There are so many stupid things going on in California. I would not move there right now. They need to get things under control. They really do need to get things under control. It's especially the petty theft thing. That was just that way too far. Remember the Fallout, right? And Fallout from... Yeah, that's a big thing. I honestly, I think the Democratic Party may actually split. I would not be surprised if they split into a socialist party and a classical Democrat party. And I would probably actually fall into the classical Democrat party, is the funny thing. Right now, I would consider myself a Republican for a few policy reasons, and Democrat in a few others. I kind of go back and forth depending on the policy, but I do 100% believe that, especially the gang, you know, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ortiz and stuff, I think that especially how you saw how they were treating Pelosi in the back and forth, there's a split in the Democratic Party where half of them want to go all the way. They want to go as far as possible. They want to progress without looking back. And people like Pelosi are seeing that maybe running headfirst isn't the best idea. And maybe we should be a bit more moderate, and we'll see who wins. We're going to see what happens. It's interesting. We're at this really interesting time where the United States may not be a two-party system for much longer. I would not be surprised. So if it happens, hey, guess what? I called it. It might not. It very well might not. Same thing with the Republican Party even. The rhinos and stuff and Trump. The Republican Party did not like Trump until Trump started winning everything he did. Okay? The only reason a lot of the Republicans are backing Trump is because Trump is the symbol of power in politics right now. Trump does something, whether right or wrong, and people fall in line right now. He is their backbone. Once Trump's gone, I think the Republican Party might rip itself apart as well. The Democrats just don't have that backbone right now.
It is time for closing statements. Each candidate will have 1 minute, and we begin with Senator Klobuchar.
This has been quite a debate. And what I want everyone out there watching to remember is that what unites us is so much bigger than what divides us. And that
True.
we need a candidate that can
Good,
bring
Amy.
people
Good job.
with her. Yes, a fired up
With her.
independents and moderate Republicans. And I've done that every single time.
That was very
I have won
sly.
every race down to 4th grade. A lot of boasting up here, so thought I'd add that. Secondly, you need someone who can govern, and I have passed over 100 bills as the lead Democrat. And third, you need someone that has
Bernie
the
can't
heart
say
to
that.
be the president.
She
They were
has
talking
passed a
about
lot of
heart
bills.
conditions up here. We have a president right now that doesn't have a heart. I love the people of
I mean, Trump
this
certainly
country,
does have a
and
heart
I
if you watch the State of the
ask for
Union,
vote of the
but
people
we
of
can
Nevada,
continue
because
demonizing the
this
man,
state
or we can
gets it.
target
They
his
get that
policies.
maybe you don't agree with every single thing that's said on this debate stage, but we understand that the heart of America is bigger than any
Senator
heart that guy
Klobuchar.
has in the White House.
Senator
I ask
Okay,
you
you're
to
getting
join
a
me
little
at
bit poetic here.
amyklobuchar.com.
Oh no, no, no! Stop it, this is not an ad for your website, stop it.
Bloomberg.com too, if you want. I'm not asking for any money. Look, this is a management job, and Donald Trump's not a manager. This is a job where you have to build teams. He doesn't have a team, so he goes and makes decisions without knowing what's going on and the implications of what he
Trump
does.
bad.
We cannot run the railroad this way. This country has to
I
pull
plug
together and
myself less than
understand
the Democratic
people that
Party.
we elect, and it's not just the President of the United States. They should
You
have
can go on
experience,
spookvooper.com.
They should have credentials. They should understand what they're doing and the implications thereof. And then we should, as a society, try to hold them accountable so the next time they go before the voters, if they haven't done the job, we shouldn't
If
just say,
Bloomberg
"Oh,
didn't
nice
have so
person
much
gives a good
dirt
speech."
behind him, he'd
We
be a
should say,
viable
"Didn't
candidate.
do the job,
He's
and
never
you're
going to
out
get
here."
past the NDA stuff, though.
Buttigieg, 1 minute.
The Democratic Party is just too
I'm
hung up
asking
on
for
past
your vote
appearances.
Because America is running out of time, and this is our only chance.
Your only
to defeat
chance is...
Donald Trump. If you look at the choice between a revolution...
He is factually correct. There is only one more election in which you can beat Donald Trump, because there's only one more election where Trump is in it. What?
status quo, and you don't see where you fit in that picture, then join us. And yes, go to peteforamerica.com. And because we need to draw everybody that we can.
I like how they didn't make
Who
it
believes that we need to empower
PeteButtigieg.com
workers,
because
believes
nobody
in
could
climate
spell
science,
that.
believes in doing something about gun violence, and recognizes that the only way we can do this is to create a sense of belonging in this country that moves us out of the toxic and polarized
I agree with that.
we are living
But
in
you're
today.
polarizing,
I
Pete.
already
You've
see
been
an
polarizing. The
American
start of this
majority
sentence was
ready to do
polarizing.
these things. Now we have a responsibility to galvanize, not polarize, that majority. We cannot afford to lean on the same Washington playbook.
It's really
We cannot
odd seeing
afford
someone
to
contradict
alienate
themselves
half
in
the
the
country.
same sentence.
We must
You,
step forward
Pete,
into the
you have
future
been
or
the only
win
person who hasn't been
and
alienating
govern a
has been
country that will be
Amy.
facing issues
And maybe
the likes of
Biden.
which
Biden's
we
been
barely
doing pretty
thought
well
of
with that.
just a few years ago.
Mr.
I'm
Mayor.
asking you to join me so that we can deliver
You've
that
got
future together.
Bernie, Trump is the worst president in history. Sanders, Warren.
Fighting. I grew up out in Oklahoma, and I learned
Stop it.
incredible
Stop
from
making
my
up your
mother.
past.
I watched when
Warren,
my
we
dad
already
had
know
a
you
heart
lied about
attack
like
and
everything.
didn't have any money coming in when our car was lost and when we were
I can't believe a thing this woman says about her backstory. She lied about being fired when she was pregnant. She lied about being Native American. She lied on her college application.
And spent my life as a teacher. And looking into why it is that so many families across this country are struggling and why it gets worse year after year after year. I, for years, have fought for unions to say the way we're going to restructure this economy is we're going to make it easier to join.
You see,
a union
unions
and get
make
more
sense to me.
power into unions. To fight for students who have
Although
been
there are
cut
some
out
dumb
of
union
opportunity
laws.
over over and over.
I don't
because
think
of the
unions should be able to
rising cost of an
donate to political
education.
campaigns.
Look, for me, I am, of all the people on this stage, I've been a politician the shortest time, but I've been the one out fighting for families the longest time. I promise you this, give me a chance, I'll go to the White House, and I'll fight for your family.
Thank you, Senator.
I'm sorry, I just, after all the things she's lied about, I can't take her very seriously.
So many people
Oh, stop it! Every Democratic debate, they have to do something. Why Biden? You could be yelling at Bloomberg right now. It's always Biden. Shut up. Is it Black Lives Matter again? You're killing your own party. You're literally helping Trump right now. This is why I can't take most of these people seriously. Trump would shut them down. He would talk right over them.
I'm running because so many people are being left behind. People I grew up with in Scranton. When my dad lost his job, lost his house, had to move. We moved to Claymont. We found ourselves in a position where we had little ability to get anything done. And my dad worked like hell. I learned a lot. I've been knocked down a whole hell of a lot. I know what it's like to be knocked down. But I know you have to get back up. We have to provide some safety and security for the American people.
I think Biden is the one person who can really say this. Biden had terrible, terrible disasters during his life that would have broken most men, and somehow Biden, even with his gaffes and corn pop, is still standing.
Right here in
I do
Nevada,
respect him for that.
Site of the most significant mass murder in American history. Guns. Our kids are getting sent to school, having to hide under desks, learn how to run down corridors to avoid being shot. It's immoral.
Being a little dramatic.
Nationally, and I beat them twice. With regard to health care, it also is something that is a right. Obamacare has to be expanded.
Just saying something is a right doesn't make it a right. Show me the bill that makes it a right. Actually do it.
Day one, we deal with sending an immigration bill to the desk. The only person in here has the worst record on immigration is Bernie, because Bernie voted against the 2007 bill. Had, in fact, that immigration bill passed, there would be 6 million members would be now American citizens.
All right. Senator Sanders, you have 1 minute.
6 million Democratic voters would have been created if you had had me.
Latino groups saw that bill.
At least nobody's speaking in Spanish this time.
But the bottom line is, all of us are united in defeating the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country. That we agree.
That line is getting people killed. This line is causing people to drive trucks into tents. Bernie Sanders, stop saying that line. You're making people think they're martyrs when they try to kill Trump supporters. He is not the most dangerous man. He's not. There's people who terrorist bomb and stuff. There's people who do insane stuff every day. Donald Trump is not going to shoot anyone. Donald Trump is not hiding under your bed. Donald Trump is going to possibly be replaced democratically. Stop this rhetoric. Stop it.
Agree on. But where we don't agree, I think, is why we are today the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people. Why 3 people own more wealth than the bottom half of America when 500,000 people sleep out on the street. Why hundreds of thousands of bright young kids can't afford to go to college and 45 million remain in student debt.
Bernie, we agree. We agree. I just don't like some of your methods.
Never takes place from the top on down. Never takes place from an oligarchy
That's not true. Ask the founding fathers.
Controlled by billionaires. We need to
Rich people do make change. I'm sorry, Bernie. Stop making this a class war. I want to help everyone.
Thank you. Senator, thank you.
Bernie Sanders, not
thank you. That concludes tonight's debate.
Bernie is pretty rich, but he's not like... Bernie is the top 1%, but he's not the top of the 1%.
With the South Carolina primary just 1 week later, then the big prize, Super Tuesday on March 3rd. We'll be following it all for you. For now, for all of us at NBC News, I'm Lester Holt. Good day.
Oh, God.
And so begins
It's
our coverage.
over.
Brian Williams here with you in New York. 2 ways, of course, of looking at what just transpired.
Did
on
Sanders and Warren shake hands? Ooh, who knows? So we'll have a little bit of after-stream discussion, guys. Let's have some after-stream discussion. After-stream discussion. But silly, Trump isn't in the most powerful position in the world either. He really isn't. I would say that the people running the Fed are in the most powerful position in the world. They can do much more damage. Trump has so many people. Free world. The Fed is in the free world. Trump is being blocked by so many people every step he takes. It's not like he's an unstoppable truck just blowing through freedoms. That's not the situation. There are mechanisms to slow down Trump if you want to. Anyways, let's have some discussion. What do you guys want to talk about? I'll give you guys like a good 5 minutes to just talk about whatever. If you want to ask me any of my opinions on things, we can play some chill music. Let's see. I've got some loaded up. Chill. Spike, you lied. I found a Trump under my bed. Every last position in the federal government is the most powerful position in the free world. Can't remember if I've ever discussed politics with you, Spike. I'm pretty level-headed with politics. Some people don't like me because of it. Well, at university I'd be called a Nazi probably because I actually have some sort of like... I have boundaries on my beliefs, which makes me a Nazi, I guess. Spike Grockle for center. I am definitely Corn Pop 2020. Honestly, if the man from Corn Pop ran, I would just be surprised he existed. I would actually write him in. Corn Pop would do so well. Long live the King Trump 2020. I'm gonna say my honest opinion. I believe Trump is going to win 2020. I think that the impeachment, the Russia, everything fell on its face, and at this point, I think that they have galvanized his supporters. You can see it at his rallies. You can see it with his actions. The man is becoming almost unstoppable for re-election. And if the Democrats want to beat him, Joe Biden had to do better like months ago. They need someone who's moderate yet has fire. Like Obama. They need Obama to run again, but he can't. The Democrats want a chance. They need someone like Obama, someone who's sleek, someone who knows what they're talking about, but someone who also has passion. You either have like Bloomberg, who has none of the passion, but all of the money and power, or you have someone like Bernie, who has all of the passion, but he doesn't want to get everyone on his boat. He wants to just get the far left onto his boat, and that's not gonna work. Is Ralph Nader still isn't that old? He could come in. Hillary Clinton. I'd laugh so hard if she joined. Obama was a radical. He brought Trump. I wouldn't call Obama radical. Like, Trump is almost on the chill levels of a normal politician. Honestly, I'd say that Trump isn't too far. Okay, so his rhetoric is new levels, but I'd say his actual actions don't go too far off from previous presidential stuff. Like, in the age of modern media, we see more of the nasties he's hiding in his past, but I feel like if anyone else campaigned, like we just saw with Bloomberg, the NDAs with women, I feel like all people who get this famous all have stuff to hide. It's just, you know, I mean, like, even Bernie Sanders has some really, really bad moments and clips from history. Hillary Clinton was recorded saying she didn't support same-sex marriage, and that stabbed her really hard. I think the big difference now is that Trump was the first person. He was not from middle-class America, but he spoke to middle-class America. Nobody else was focusing on them. Everyone else was focusing on the poor or on the rich. And Trump said, you know what, if I speak directly to them, maybe they won't understand me and I won't understand them, but they'll hear that I'm talking to them. It's not gonna work when you have your party saying, we don't care about men, We don't care about white people. We want free healthcare for illegal immigrants, and that's what we're going to talk about during debates. You're not going to get a wide enough turnout, not to mention the issues with those policies. The issue is that you are literally casting the smallest net you possibly can. Yes, there are actual sexual assault controversies. You're right. You were 100% right. However, no current president... Well, actually, well... Bill Clinton wasn't even really sexual. I can't really think of any presidents, modern presidents, that have had confirmed sexual assault issue. Probably, I think Joe Biden would get the closest because there's a video of him like touching girls and stuff. But I don't think something like that. I don't think Trump really stands out among the rest with it. Trump did not say, "I held down a woman and groped her." He said, "When you're rich, women let you," and he was being cocky and disgusting, but he wasn't admitting to a crime. He was saying, yeah, he looks down on women, or he did. He was a player, but he didn't admit to, like, assaulting someone. Definitely a difference there, and it's... People, like the media, will keep saying he said he, but... You'd have to read way farther. You have to look at what he actually said. It's it's like with the thing where they say that he called Nazis fine people. He didn't. That's completely made up. It was a completely different discussion, actually. He wasn't even talking about the Charlottesville march. He was talking about people who wanted to keep the statue up, which was a separate issue. And for some reason, they cut that and put it in with the other thing and then just ran with it. There's these lies that are just really deep about Trump, and everyone has heard them, so they all think it's true. It's like the Covington Catholic kids. Once you put a lie out, people repeat it, and once it's repeated enough, it's the truth, basically. Oh, Bloomberg. Yes, Bloomberg does actually have sexual assault controversy. We wouldn't know, though, unless we release the NDAs. The issue is, he could be trying to protect himself from false accusations. Look at, like, what happened with Johnny Depp. We can't be sure that he didn't just pay the hush money so that someone wouldn't lie about him. It happens a lot more than you would think. It's a scary thing. What if you were in Bloomberg's shoes and a girl said she was going to say that you raped them to news channels if you didn't give them money? You can't prove innocence. It's really, really challenging to prove innocence. Look at Kavanaugh. He kept a calendar of literally everything he did. All of the witnesses said that Kavanaugh couldn't have done it. The witnesses who said he did then turned around and they still said he did it, and he didn't prove his innocence. You cannot prove your innocence when people hate you. They will grasp at straws. So that's the dangerous thing when it comes to Bloomberg and stuff. People nowadays, in this day of age, you literally, if people don't like you, they can ruin your life. And that's not saying that everyone lies. I'm sure a vast majority of sexual assault and stuff are true. But the issue is when you have someone who just started running for the presidency, you don't know if things are true or not. And unfortunately, I don't think there will ever be enough proof to know. I mean, I think people in like school and stuff can relate. I mean, rumors are made, and you can't prove that a rumor isn't true unless the person who says it admits it's not true. We had a few high-profile cases near me where people lied, and people's lives were absolutely destroyed, and then they, at some point years later, they go, "Oh, I was just lying," and it's too late. You've already destroyed someone's life, and you've ruined it for all the people who actually are assaulted, because now everyone else looks a little bit more like they're lying. You have to be a little bit more cautious, which is why I think this believe all women thing is dangerous. It's very dangerous. You shouldn't believe all anyone. I don't care if you're a transgender African-American woman activist. I'm sorry, I can't believe you just because you say something. I'm not going to believe Trump just because he says something. He spews lies all day long, and so do most politicians. I lost my best friend because people started a rumor that I had a crush on them. My old case, but yeah, it's honestly one of the most effective ways to ruin someone. Is you come up with something that if they reject, it looks bad, and if they accept it, it looks much worse. Bloomberg is either going to have to say, I didn't do it, and he's going to have to keep saying it, and they're going to say, well, then why don't you get rid of the NDA? Or what's going to happen is if Bloomberg gets rid of the NDA, those women will be able to say whatever they want, and maybe something did happen. That's the scary thing. You don't know. Politics are hard because of that. You can never know what the intentions are. You can never know what's going on behind the doors. It's a scary world we live in now. I'm sure if I ran for politics, I'd have to say straight up, things I said on the internet in the past were mostly jokes, and I was 19, and I'm not going to apologize for them. That's one of the greatest things that Trump did. One of the strongest things that Trump did is he basically has the attitude of, I'm not going to apologize. The moment you apologize, you have turned your face into a punching bag. And as a politician, it doesn't really matter if something happened or not. You shouldn't apologize if you want to win, because once you start apologizing, they will push further and further and further. Trump is very Trumpish. He goes, I did this for my reasons, and I'm not going to apologize. You're going to have to fight me on it. And if people like Bernie Sanders, like when the Black Lives Matter group took over his rally, or even recently the PETA people took his rally over. They held up a sign and said, Bernie Sanders supports the milk industry, and flashed their tits on his stage. Bernie Sanders should have walked up and said, I don't apologize. These are people with jobs, and I support all Americans. But Bernie Sanders won't do that. Bernie Sanders does not want to lose those few activists who disrespected him and took over his stage. And he is making himself into this guy who you can walk all over. This is the third time it's happened now, I'm pretty sure. It's happened at least twice. Black Lives Matter and now PETA. Bernie Sanders needs to learn, if he wants to go up against Trump, he needs to learn to say, no, I'm not apologizing. I am running for president, and I have to make compromises, and I'm not going to apologize for them. He has to do it. If none of the Democrats do that, Trump is going to win, because the issue is the Democratic Party is so fractured right now, and it's so split between the socialists who want everything and the moderates who want to work across the aisle. You're never going to make both of them happy, and you're going to have to make decisions that pisses half of them off, and you can't apologize for it. You have to say, I need to unite us. But I doubt that's going to happen. And that's one of the things I'm thinking. If it's Bernie versus Trump, once they get on that debate stage, Trump has so much ammunition. He can make Bernie get half of his supporters to leave him in a moment if he plays his cards right. Bernie can go, well, you built a wall, you're racist, and Trump can go, I don't feel bad about building the wall, I'm saving American lives. Trump can then go, you're supporting the dairy industry. Bernie Sanders is going to either apologize and lose his dairy farmer support, or he's going to, that's honestly all I see Bernie Sanders. I don't see him taking a hard line on something like that, because he already has cast such a small net compared to Trump. Trump has cast the widest net I think I've ever seen a politician attempt for. He is very, very strategic with this, and that's why when he won states like Pennsylvania that just weren't expected. Nobody thought it would happen, and it's probably going to happen again, because I don't think that the Democrats have learned from their mistake in 2016. I think that they're cocky, they're not focusing on policy enough. When I hear Trump talking, I hear him talking about things that got done. And when I hear the Democrats talking, I hear them complaining about each other not being extreme enough. I think the State of the Union address is actually a great example of that. Trump says, we did this, 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 and this. Now, you may not like what he did, but he did do it. And then Pelosi rips it up and says it's a bunch of lies. It's not a lie. Everything he said was true. You just didn't like it. You can't just ignore things that are happening. Fight his policies. Stop calling him a liar, because the numbers are public. They're out there. The woman whose husband came and reunited with her there, that wasn't a lie. That actually happened. This isn't some flat earth Discord server. We aren't going to disregard things happening right in front of us. It's honestly scary. There's this ignorance that's just growing and growing, and it's, I don't care if Trump's getting things done. It's a lie that he's getting things done, and it's not a lie. Disagree with how he's getting things done, but stop saying that nothing's happening. Stop saying that only billionaires are getting supported by his tax bill, because I am not a billionaire, and I saw a massive difference that saved me about $4,000 so far, which may not sound like much, but that's like 3 months of rent. That's a lot of money. When you're paying for a small business, you pay into Social Security and Medicare twice because you don't have an employer paying half for you. Trump is doing things that are affecting normal Americans, and if the Democrats want to beat him, they have to say, we're also going to do things, we're going to do them differently, here's why it's going to be better. But right now all they're saying is, Trump didn't do that. And when you go, well, Trump did actually do that, they go, yeah, but it only helped the billionaires. And then when you go, well, no, it helped me, they go, well, yeah, but Trump bad. I want to hear how you are going to give me that same benefit, not how Trump bad and how I'm somehow a billionaire. I've had arguments on my college campus about this. Someone asked me, why do you currently support Trump over some of the other candidates? And I said, look, I actually own a business. I see the numbers. Yes, Trump is stupid, but he's actually helping me in a way a lot of these other candidates aren't going to. I have union healthcare, and Bernie Sanders just wants to ban most private healthcare, which is going to remove my healthcare, and then I'm going to have to pray that his healthcare doesn't suck. Whereas people like Pete are trying to be more moderate, and they are trying to have the private option still there, and you really have to look into things like that. People like me exist. We are not some fringe. It's called the middle class. We exist, and everything's ignoring us. You're ignoring the people who already have private health insurance who like it, Bernie. Stop telling me that I don't like it, because my health insurance is fantastic, and I would actually lose money under your plan. I'd like to be able to choose my plan instead and have that as an option if I was super poor. It's going to depend on the person, but they have to stop pretending I don't exist. They have to stop pretending middle America doesn't exist. They have to stop pretending white males don't exist. It's not going to work. It's a massive voting base, and ignoring us just makes us vote for Trump. So with that, I'm going to say thank you for watching. If you want to talk more about this, join my Discord, discord.gg/spookvooper. We have a hashtag debate channel for political discussion. And I hope you subscribe to this channel, because we'll be talking more in the future. I really do like talking about this stuff with you guys. You can probably tell I am very politically minded. I actually want to run at some point in politics. And we are probably at one of the most important and interesting times in American history when it comes to the political sphere. So it's an exciting time to, I have the right to vote now. I'm going to exercise that right for the first time, and I'm going to be honest. The Democrats are not making a good view for themselves right now. They aren't doing what they have to do to get my vote. Not yet. There's too many insane positions. Every single one of them, I think except for Amy, holds a position which is so extreme I don't think I could ever vote for it. With Pete, he literally wasn't able to say that he was against infanticide. He literally, they set him up. They set him up with the question, and they said, if there's a perfectly healthy baby that's being born, would you be okay with aborting it after birth? And he literally said, I think that should be up to... No, Pete, at that point, you've gone too far. They set you up with the most lowball question. Bernie Sanders is banning private health insurance because that's my safety net. I don't want that taken away. with Senator Warren. Senator Warren is really just a liar. I just don't like her. I like some of her ideas, but I think her as a person, I don't think her ideas, if I were to go between Bernie and Warren, I would probably choose Bernie, because at least Bernie, you can look back years and years and years and years and years, and you can go, Bernie's always been on this trajectory. Warren just takes up whatever issue is hot. But yeah, silly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Pete can't answer a question. He literally can't. They give him the easiest question, and that question specifically coming from someone, I'll admit it, I'm pro-life. I do believe I could argue the point at which it becomes a life. I'm fine with having an argument there. I think that there should be a limit. And people like Pete who are saying it should be up to the woman, there's a point where it's no longer your body. I'm sorry. We have to figure out what that point is, but you can't just say my body, my choice when there's a baby that's been delivered. What is it? Well, the placenta's still attached to it, it's yours? Pete, you were given the easiest question of all time. Easiest question. Are you okay with murdering delivered babies? And you dodged it. Do you not see how that would scare people? Someone asked you on the debate floor, they asked you, Pete, is there a place for pro-life Democrats? And you said no. You said no. So you literally got people like me who think that there should be a limit on abortion wherever it is, and you just threw us out the window. Yeah. So I think we'll talk more about Pete in the future. Because he's a very interesting character. Let me know if you want to see more political commentary and stuff in the future. I hope I didn't trigger anyone too much. I think I'm very moderate. Some people probably got annoyed watching me because I was criticizing these people, and people go, "Oh God, it's the Democrats. We can't criticize them because if we criticize them, Trump will win." It was a line that was said in the last debate. They kept going, "No, stop. That's a Republican talking point." Yeah, it is a Republican talking point, and if you can't refute it, the Republicans will win. Stop acting like Republican talking points are forbidden in your debates. You are going to debate Trump at some point, you know. You're going to have to get the Republicans on your side. Republican talking points are probably the thing you should be debating, okay? Okay? You shouldn't be ignoring them. But anyways, I digress. Thank you all for watching. I'm trying to tiptoe into being more political, but I will see you next time. Oh, the raising tax talk will re-elect Trump 100%. Look, I'll say I'm saving a ton of money because of Trump's tax cuts, and I'm definitely going to factor that into the election. So with that, thank you all. I hope you enjoyed.